pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Today is Monday, December 6, 2021, the time being 5 p.m. The meeting of the Greensburg Board of Works is called to order. At this time, please silence all of your electronic devices. To comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the city requests that participants in this meeting complete a voluntary anonymous survey that is available on the table in the back of the room. Amy, would you please call the roll?
Glenn Tubby.
Here.
Rodney King.
Here.
Jamie Kane.
Here.
Karen Rust.
I did hear from Dee, and she would not be able to join us this evening. You have received a copy of the minutes from November 1st, 2021. Any edits, additions, or corrections to those? If not, we take a motion to approve those as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made by Glenn, seconded by Rodney. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
That passes, right then?
Yes.
Okay. You have an executive session minutes from November 10th, 2021. Any additions, edits, or corrections to those? If not, we'll take a motion to pass those as presented.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made by Rodney, seconded by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
You were there.
That one?
Yeah, that was the interviews.
Oh, no, I wasn't there.
Oh, that's right, you weren't. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Then I need to amend the minutes.
Didn't they say that Jamie was there?
I did read that too, then I remember.
Okay. Would there
So
be-
I would like to, Rodney, will you want to recall your motion? How do we rescind this?
I'll make a motion to modify the minutes.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to modify the minutes to reflect the amendment of the abstention.
I would second that motion.
All those in favor of that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There we go. Okay, there being no old business, we'll move directly into new business. Josh Tressler is here with an update from Decatur County IT and the interlocal agreement. Good evening, Josh.
I actually gave 2 copies to the mayor. I'm not sure if you're clear on the history. I believe 2 years ago, the Decatur County Communications MOU was updated to add me to their department. So this morning, we actually took 2 new MOUs, a new one for communications and a new one for the technology department. And in essence, it is a exact copy, same terms, everything is the same. Just removes me from Erica's Decatur County Communications MOU with the city, and then creates a separate one. The only modifications to this from all of the existing MOUs that have been signed for the communications agreement was the removal of all the verbiage about statewide funds. There's some distribution ways that those funds have to be distributed based on termination, which do not apply because that's only a dispatch thing. But everything else is basically a copy and paste of the boilerplate template that was used. I did add one line to the end of property, basically just clarifying that if this agreement were to be terminated, it states all assets are split 50-50 city-county. I did add one line in there that just calls out any property purchased from either a city or county department budget outside of the Decatur County technology budget is excluded from that. For example, if this department were to purchase laptops for the police department using the police department's funds, it's explicitly spelled out that the county doesn't get half of those laptops or vice versa. Other than that, it's a copy of basically the previous 2 MOUs you guys had. It did go before the commissioners this morning, both MOUs. I'm pretty certain they signed them without really any discussion because they were, like I said, just basically separating them into 2 agreements. So, do you have any questions for me?
I was going to ask you what if there were any substantive changes. When I looked at a couple of them, it looked the same, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to read all of it. So.
Right.
And I can confirm that the commissioners did pass this unanimously with very little to no discussion this morning.
Yeah.
And I have looked at the copy that he left me, and I also perused the one that they had at the commissioners meeting just to kind of educate myself myself, and they are substantially the same as our past interlocal agreements related to IT.
Our intent was truly just to have them separate, one for communications, one for technology, no actual changes to any kind of.
So we have the one before us is the technology one, the communications one is,
Mayor, I only have the signed copy of that. That was all that's provided to bring over.
All right. But we do need to approve both.
Yes.
Any other questions? If not, would entertain a motion to approve both interlocal agreements, one for the technology operations support and the other for emergency dispatch for public safety.
I would move approval of the technology operations and support MOU and the communications. I'll do it jointly, that should be okay. And the communications MOU as well.
Motion's been made by Glenn. Is there a second? Seconded by Rodney. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
You want these back, or do you want us to give them to the courthouse?
I can take them back, whatever's easier
Okay.
for you guys.
Next on the agenda, we have Chief Stoermer with the Fire Department, authorization of employment. Good evening, Chief.
So come forward tonight to offer a conditional offer to candidate number 4. Candidate 4 has successfully passed the background and traffic investigation phase, as well as had their medical and psychological physical. We just await those results. So I would like it still to reflect it as a conditional offer until the state signs off that he is ready to go. But I would like to extend that offer to candidate number 4 of the interviews.
Any further?
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made by Rodney. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There you go.
All right, thank you very much.
Second thing is opening bids of surplus equipment.
Yes,
Okay, you ready for that?
whatever.
Who has them? Amy, do you have them?
They're not in office.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I did not.
We'll need those. You know where they're at. Okay.
I'll tell you what I think's on them.
What do you think?
I can't actually.
Why don't we just delay that a moment,
Yeah.
and we'll skip down to
Somebody else.
Zeke with a UV disinfection Strand task order and agreement. Good evening, Zeke.
Good evening. Couple things on my agenda here. First is the Strand task order agreement. Last couple months, adjustment was in. We were essentially looking to replace the UV disinfection system. It's been in place for 21, 22 years. Unfortunately, as of July 31st, it's going to become obsolete. Can't get parts, so we're looking to get that replaced. We're using Strand essentially to engineer this, get us a few proposals, and kind of get the wheels in motion as far as getting that in by disinfection season 2023.
Go ahead. This is something that's in the budget
Yeah,
for
it's
next
budgeted.
year, and it's
Correct.
just been one of the ongoing pieces. Any questions for Zeke?
No, the compensation here is standard, I guess. I can see.
I actually had Jeff Smith review this with me, so he was okay with it.
Okay. We need to replace it.
Yeah, it's in our permit. We have to disinfect April through October, so our unit can't get parts after July, so we should have enough parts to get us through next year. So I know they said pretty much anything that's other than a bulb, we probably can't get, so hoping to get through one more year on it.
I would entertain a motion to hire Strand Services for the task order 2020 or 21-01 in the amount of $20,000. Motion's been made by Jamie. Is there a second? Second by Rodney. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. And then your next item is about a diesel lift station trash pump.
Correct. I'm looking to purchase a 4-inch diesel portable lift station trash pump. Currently, there are 16 lift stations in Greensburg. 8 of those are plumbed with a bypass. What that essentially means is if there's a mechanical failure of a pump or we lose power, we have the ability to hook up an external pump and continue to pump sewage into our main sewer line. We currently don't have anything to do that with. So what happens now essentially is if we were to lose power, lift station goes down, we have a couple of sludge trucks that we would pretty much run around the clock to pump out that manhole, that lift station, and essentially go off to a wastewater treatment plant and offload. Those would run until we got it back online. This purchase would give us the ability to essentially hook up to 8 of those 16 lift stations in the event of an emergency or a mechanical failure, pump power outage or what have you. Would have the ability to go there and continue business as normal, even in an emergency situation. And this is also in the budget for us.
How many of our lift stations have standby generators?
We have one generator, which is going to be on my agenda for next year as well to get replaced. It's about 30 years old. It's only compatible for probably 3 of our 16 lift stations. So we're not exactly self-sufficient. If something happens, we have a couple of sludge trucks that we run around the clock, or we try to rent a pump or a generator. We have a few backups, but we don't have a bunch. This would make us more versatile, quicker to respond.
Zeke, I have a question.
Sure.
Rodney, could you slide up so that the mic picks up things?
You've only been on board for a very short period of time,
8 weeks.
and you've seen that we are lacking in a number of areas, okay?
It's a few.
Would you do me a favor and start putting together a wish list by priority?
I can do that. Yeah.
I think it would be great for us to know what might be coming down the way.
Can make that happen.
I think we have that though, don't we? When we did the sewer and water rate, we had that, we went through all of our equipment, what we're gonna need to upgrade, when we're gonna need to upgrade it, what the expected life expectancy of them. I thought that was part of that. I think we have that.
Then that should be shared with Zeke,
Yeah.
so he has some idea, and he can still put together a wish list.
I can do that, yeah, sure.
I think those are, the capital improvement plan is what you're
Correct, that's
referring
what
to,
you're
right?
referring to, yeah.
I think generally that leaves machinery as a line item. Are you asking for more specifics than machinery?
No, I don't want to be in a situation where we're throwing Band-Aids out there, using the truck to drive waste material from one place to another. If we've got the equipment where it should be, then we reduce man hours and we reduce emergencies.
Fair.
This was in the budget, right? I mean, this was planned
Correct. Was in the budget, yep.
prior to your coming.
Correct. Is a needed improvement.
This was something that was,
Both of these were planned.
yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Yep, yep. Just make us a little more self-sufficient.
Any other questions? If not, would entertain a motion to purchase an Atlas Co. Trash pump.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Rodney, second by Jamie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, thanks, Zeke.
Yep, thank you.
Let's return to opening bids for surplus equipment with Chief Stoermer. Chris, you have the bids.
I have the bids. I will open these in order of receipt. This one was from the Hamilton Volunteer Fire Department Incorporated, was received at 9:28 a.m. on the 23rd.
Chief, can you kind of tell us a little bit about what it is we're selling?
Yeah, this is our 30-year-old aerial platform tower truck that is in the budget to be replaced next year. Sale of surplus equipment is done by the Board of Works, so we're also going to be presenting this again tonight at the City Council meeting with who won the bid and the amount, and then talking about financing for that apparatus. So it is my goal is to get this money turned around and put in to replenish some of the funds that are going to be spent for the other truck. This truck is no longer cost effective for us to keep it totally certified and repair. This department that has come and looked at it is excited to get it. They understand operating it as is. It's not certified, but they're okay with that. They're a small department that is growing in industrial, and they're wanting a truck that can do some aerial master stream work or some throw some water from high up. So this is what suits them.
The bid from the Hamilton Fire Department for the 1992 Grumman Aerial Cat 102 feet rear mount platform. Is that the thing?
That's correct.
Great. Submit a bid of $25,010. 25,010. That's from the Hamilton Fire Department. The other bid was received at 11:48 a.m. on the same day. An indication on the outside of the envelope who submitted it. So, give it an open. Okay. The bid from Randall Coors on the say 1992 Grumman Aerial Cat 102 rear mount platform is $1,000. 1000.
Okay, thanks, Chris. As Chief mentioned, typically we go through the process of the Board of Works approving those types of sales. We're requesting, if you would like, to either approve it to the sale to the highest bidder upon approval by the council, or you can let it go to the council first and they could send it back to you next month if you would like. The reason for that is we want to be sure, as we talk about fire items going forward with another apparatus, that the council is still supportive and wants to continue down this path. So we're trying to, Jamie, am I misrepresenting that? And making sure that everybody's on the same page before one board checks the box to send it out the door without some type of plan coming in behind it.
Pretty important.
Right.
I'd say. Well, I don't see a reason to bring it back myself, and we approved things before upon approval of the council, so, I mean, we've done those more than once, so.
And I will say that department is excited to get that apparatus. They've reached out to us already about scheduling a pickup time if they were so to be the highest bidder. So
But this isn't our only aerial truck.
correct.
So
We
we
do have a
do-
75-foot quint apparatus or 5-function apparatus that we're still maintaining up until the delivery of the new one, which will be 365 days plus.
Now,
So
and-
we're not totally getting rid of an aerial apparatus.
And the attempt to provide another one, or replace this one, should it be sold, is, so what do we have in cum fire? Because typically we have cum fire accumulating those dollars in order to replace substantial equipment like this. That's typically what, I mean, as we've done in the past. It's not been capitalized otherwise.
There is
Well, it's been
not.
capitalized otherwise, but
There is not.
Majority of
There is
that's-
only about a quarter of the funding needed to purchase the new truck in cum fire.
and this 25 is not going to make that much of a difference in a.
No, but it would, again, it
Well,
would
yeah, it would be
go back,
important. I would
go
think
back
that
to
we-
that at least.
I would think that's where we'd want to designate the money to go, but that's again the council's decision.
Cum
not ours.
Fire has 463,000 in it, Glenn, and this is about a $1.2 million
Right,
purchase.
yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it was over $1 million. I didn't know how much, but I figured it was over $1 million, this truck, so, okay. Well, I see no harm in us approving a sale condition of council. So I would move that we agree to the sale of this piece of equipment pending approval of the council.
To the Hamilton Fire Department.
To the Hamilton Fire Department for $25,000.
Hamlet. Oh, Hamlet. I thought you said Hamlet.
Like Shakespeare.
I got you.
Oh, I just had Hamilton too.
Sorry.
Motion's been made to approve the sale of the 92 aerial platform to Hamlet for $25,010 by Glenn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jamie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, thanks, sir. Up next, Street Commissioner Klosterkemper with opening bids for replacement trucks.
Good evening, Board. I think you'll find in your packet, I provided you with a cover letter and 3 quotes from the 3 local dealers for a pickup truck to replace one that was destroyed in an accident earlier in the year. As the letter states, my recommendation would be that we accept the low quote for the Chevrolet pickup truck for $33,892.
Does it have all the bells and whistles that you want?
Correct. If you noticed, I spelled out in the letter, I put together a set of bid specs. The dealers seem to appreciate that they're all 3 bidding on the same type of vehicle, whereas a lot of times they don't get that information, and that's what I made sure to provide. So all 3 of them would be sufficient.
Thank you.
And the one dealer, you'll note, did have trouble because the manufacturer couldn't give him his new fleet discount, so he wasn't competitive, and he apologized on behalf of them not being able to compete.
What you'd expect, a couple thousand different, or not quite that even.
Okay. Any questions for Mark on that? If not, would entertain the motion to purchase the Chevy for the aforementioned price.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Rodney, second by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. A few things that I have to bring forth. We have change order number 15 for the building. We've sent that out in advance. Any questions? We are hopeful that this is the last one. We may have another credit coming back to us, but those are pretty easy. Any questions about that? If not, would take a motion to approve change order number 15 as presented. Motion's been made by Jamie. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next thing I have is we have worked to move the, or are working to bring GIS into our building up here, and a part of that is for some furniture for that office space. This includes desk, chairs, those types of things for that space, as the current one is in the wastewater plant, and that office will be utilized elsewhere. I'm trying to find, do you see that in your packet?
No, I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see it in the council packet either.
So what we've included, and I apologize for that, we've included 2 desks, 2 chairs, and a small conference room table for the GIS division to be moved here, put together, assembled, and delivered by the same company that did the office furniture for our building. It is for a total of $5,449. We can do that through building funds, as it is part of the building project. We're outfitting an office, just like we did elsewhere. I apologize for not having that in advance. I believe it to be pretty clear. If you want to see it, there it is. If not, and I'll let you see it, I'm not trying to rush you through it, but it's for $5,449.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. Motion's been made by Rodney. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Thank you very much. Next up is the discussion that continued on from earlier this summer when we had our interns with us, and they were talking about the outdoor fitness park, which is open and has been met with good fanfare, actually, and usage. We discussed at that time the idea of purchasing some type of shade cover for it, and the point being for shade, but also a little bit of weather protection. It is not a solid surface, it's like a shade material. And we wanted to wait till we got later in the year to make sure we had the funding available to do that. I've given you in your packet sort of a breakdown of how I believe we can afford to cover the proposal from the same company that was recommended earlier in the year. That would be from Riverboat, the CUMCAP Park Fund improvements, and then we've also received a Duke Energy grant that Sam and Ellie applied for before they left. So we received that a couple months ago, notice of that. So I'm requesting that you approve $15,000 from each of those three funds that already have appropriated money left for this year to cover that expense, and then we'll get it ordered and get it put up next year.
Riverboat and which other?
440, which is the CUMCAP, Cumulative Capital Park Fund, and then from just generalized improvements. And all of those have the remaining funds for this year still in them.
But the cost is 40, right? And you're appropriating 45?
I want to be sure that we've got shipping and because we've got that bid about 45 days ago. So obviously we won't pay more than they're asking, but I just want to be sure we've got it all covered in these three funds.
Yeah. How do we pay for the equipment to begin with in the pad? Forgotten.
That came from improvements out of edit. I think that's right.
Well, it seems like a lot, but, and I'm not you can tell, looking at me, I don't exercise, so I wouldn't know, but, it seems like an awful lot for just fabric over a area, but.
And the steel structure for it.
Well, yeah, that's another, okay. Well, I guess we need to
Do we have to,
protect our investment a little bit.
well, I mean, but can we see it before maybe we could see some examples, send us pictures?
Sure.
And we could approve it maybe next month, or we have another meeting, are we talking about another meeting on the 15th, or
Yes.
so could we maybe table this and approve it on the 15th, and we could maybe see some pictures of it between now and then? Would that be?
Yes, that's fine. I can find those.
I'll make a motion, we table that for now.
Second.
Motion's been made to table by Jamie, second by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Fair enough. I've requested a special Board of Works meeting for December 15th, 5 p.m. We will pay the end of the year bills. We also have CCMG contracts for 2021 bids for 2021-2. Coming through, the state has been very delayed in getting the award for round 2 out, so we are hopeful to get that in before the end of the year and all the contracts signed. So we have, Ron and Mark have worked to send out the specifications and solicit bids for that time and place to be opened. I hope everybody can make it. And then we'll finish paying up the bills for the end of the year then as well. And then our next regular Board of Works meeting is January 11th, 5:30 p.m. That's our new day and time. So please be sure to note that. Amy, did you want to comment on the other piece that's coming to council?
Sure. When we were doing our presentations, Julie Nobby and I, for the new employee handbook, One thing that came to light was in the addendum for the city, there was a lack of specification for call-out time. It was very specific in fire and police, but it was not specific in the city. So if somebody was called out for water or for sewer or whatever, or, you know, snow removal or whatever, it wasn't specific as to the timing and how much they definitely would get compensated for, a minimum. And so we are going to present an ordinance to just amend that part of the handbook to be more specific, this is what it's going to say, a minimum of 1 hour. At time and a half, but at least, you know, they're not getting paid for 15 minutes, they'll get at least an hour to get up in the middle of the night and come to do that stuff. So, we just wanted to make you aware. I don't know if anything needs to be passed, but just
No,
wanted to
because
make
it's
you
the
aware
amendment of
that.
the ordinance, and we're, the information sessions that we did with all employees was really beneficial, and Amy and Julie just did a really good job of sharing the changes that were made, and got a lot of questions answered and went through that
Clarified a
process. So
lot
this
of
was something that got brought up, and just one small thing for the first year, the transition year as well. So overall, I think it went really well. Yeah, we were pretty happy with that, so.
Pretty good.
Any questions for Amy on that topic? Okay, approval of the claims. You all received a copy of that in advance. Any changes or questions? If not, would take a motion to approve the claims as presented. Motion's been made by Jamie. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Rodney. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Anything else to come before the board? If not, take a motion to adjourn. Motion's been made. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
What time are we doing the council meeting?
6:30. It was a bit of a typo. We had
I
6:30.
just want to make sure I had it right, that's all. How you doing, sir?
Okay, only 5. Hang out. Cold in here tonight.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I've been that way all my life.
No, my mom's over at Pickers. So I'm going to make sure she's not getting murdered or something.